A hidden pleasure coursed through Ivan's entire being. His steps towards the wizard's tower were unusually light. In contrast to his usual calm expression, a smile adorned his face, as if something exceptionally good had happened. I don't understand a word you're saying. There's no need to talk further. Scared but showing courage, isn't she? How wonderful. Ivan muttered to himself. Grand Duke Fenric said that an urgent message has arrived from the imperial court. Was that your doing, chief magician? However, her intuition is surprisingly sharp. The fact that magic was involved in the recent murders, especially the case of Noah Deverne, has already been exposed. Consequently, Ivan, despite his usual indifference, found himself making an effort in the matter. After all, he was no ordinary wizard. Rather, he was a great magician, a magician notorious for his cruel personality but unparalleled in his skill. The church may not have liked his intervention, but even the church had to admit that his help was necessary this time. But Ivan's real goal was not to uncover the culprit. When Ivan saw the book of prophecy in the basement of the wizard's tower, he realized that it was unlikely that Presepe was completely unconnected with this case. From that moment on, his attention became focused only on her. It seems that you all have no reason to be curious about such things, especially now, without knowing or catching the culprit. But he could not rush off to look for Presepe recklessly. The way Fenric reacted when he asked where she was annoying. After a series of murders, Fenric Presepe was kidnapped from the imperial palace as if he had been waiting for such an opportunity. There was no way Fenric would let Ivan meet her. So, Ivan made a plan. He spread a rumor that the recent incidents were related to the decline in monster numbers in the Forbidden Forest. As expected, a commotion broke out between the church and the knights. The knights claimed that reducing the numbers of monsters was an unattainable feat. In return, the wizard's tower claimed to be experts on the nature of monsters and the forest, and demanded an immediate investigation. The result was complete chaos. Fortunately for Ivan, the emperor was still bedridden, leaving Fenric to mediate and make decisions. As planned, an urgent message was sent to Fenric. As soon as Fenric left his estate, Ivan, who had been lurking behind him, moved. He completely skipped the meeting and started implementing his plans. The discussions should be over by now. Ivan glanced toward the heart of the palace where the meeting room was located, then shrugged his shoulders and walked up the stairs. After leaving the annoying tasks to his subordinates, he intended to return to his room to review the day's events and plan his next steps. After all, his goal was one: to send Fenric into the Forbidden Forest with the knights. In Fenric's absence, he approaches Presepe and eventually tries to lure her to his side. It was when he stepped into his quiet room, immersed in such pleasant thoughts. "Good evening, great wizard." Hearing a voice in the darkness, Ivan suddenly turned around. What a lovely night, isn't it? But whoever had moved too quickly to react. Oh. In an instant, Ivan fell to the ground, letting out a short groan. He looked at the person he was riding. It was Fenric. What does this mean? That is what I have to ask, Archmage, Fenric replied in an even tone. What are you doing here? Who entered this property without permission first? Damn you. Ivan frowned deeply. He didn't expect Fenric to remain silent if he found out that Ivan was looking for Presepe alone. However, Ivan had prepared an alibi, investigating the murders. He planned to bring up this topic before Fenric could question him, thus preventing any counterattack. What he didn't expect was Fenric to react this way. You seem to be suffering from a serious misunderstanding, Chief Magician. There is not a single person in Attilia that I cannot kill. Ha, and there is nothing more important than protecting Ms. Fenric's crimson eyes flared as they fixed their eyes on Ivan. So how do I deal with a rat like you who sneaks closer to her after she dragged me out? Schweiing. We heard a terrifying metallic sound as a sharp blade pressed against Ivan's neck. Ivan's dark eyes caught the attention of Fenric's face, illuminated by moonlight, which was frightening and menacing. "Isn't this a bit extreme, our Grand Duke?" Ivan finally said, looking directly at Fenrik. "You have no justification for killing me. How will you deal with the consequences?" "Justification?" Fenrik sneered. "This is more than enough already. I don't love you. It wouldn't be enough to satisfy me even if I cut your throat and splattered your guts out." Fenrik's words caused a slight shift in Ivan's expression. This crazy person, he thought Fenrik was someone he could reason with. Clearly he was wrong. Ivan bit his lips in frustration. But he was not helpless. If Fenrik drew his sword, Ivan could have fought back, though he was not as disturbed as he was. For example, he can freeze Fenrik's hands. Or maybe burn his arms completely to make him unable to use the sword again. The latter will have an unpleasant odor, so the former seems more appropriate. With a face full of contempt, Ivan quickly extended his hand to Fenrik, only for his attempt to fail spectacularly. What is this?" Unlike usual, nothing happened. Despite gathering all his magic and condensing it into his fingertips, there was no reaction. Instead, behind Fenrik's back, a faint black mist emanated briefly. It was so light that others didn't notice it, but Ivan was able to see it clearly. "Black magic." Ivan muttered in a blank voice, dumbfounded. "What are you?" It was ridiculous. After all, everyone unanimously declared Ivan a once-in-a-century talent. And those words were not a lie. The world of magic seemed complicated, but when dissected, it was incredibly clear. No wizard can attack someone who has magic stronger than him. Even if they tried, nothing would happen. The greater the disparity in power, the more pronounced this rule becomes. And now, it happened, just like this. The magic he released had been absorbed by his opponent, leaving no trace. This was the first time he had felt such a thing. "No, this can't be," Ivan muttered as if he was in a trance. "If that were the case, I would have noticed it earlier." It seemed like a mockery. Fenrik, who was standing before him, did not give off any aura or power associated with magic. Except for the brief moment when the black mist appeared. A very unfortunate final statement. "Wait, no, wait." Ivan panicked and screamed desperately. "I approached Presepe, Mrs. I don't remember asking for an explanation." Ivan's expression twisted in disbelief, but Fenrik wasn't interested in his excuses. It was meaningless to him. It was very clear. As if subject to a predetermined preparation, Ivan felt an inexplicable obsession and affection for Presepe. Since Fenrik had taken her out of the palace before Ivan could meet her, it was only natural that he would find a way to get close to her. Ivan clenched his fists in frustration. He didn't know what was happening, but surviving this situation was the most practical option. Ivan quickly organized his thoughts and spoke again. "Stop pretending to be so noble, Duke. After all, you're doing this because you care about her too, right? Just like the late Prince Atari, or Noah Dufferin, or even me." Manipulating the ailing emperor into banishing Presepe, and acting as if you were a grand regent, Ivan smiled. "I simply acted as I wanted, just as you did. If you think about it, there is no real difference between us. It is ridiculous." "No difference?" What was ridiculous was Evan's claim. "No, we are completely different." "What?" Wait, before Ivan could finish his sentence, Fenrik's grip on his sword tightened. With the sharp pain and the sensation of sticky blood soaking his neck, Ivan realized something frightening. This guy could really kill him here. Without any justification. Fenrik's crimson eyes sparkled eerily as he stared at Ivan. It should have been eliminated anyway. Although this may complicate matters, it may be better this way. Now. Ivan. You're finally back. It was too soon, ah. Suddenly, an intruder interrupts the scene. He was a young wizard who often accompanied Ivan, even while investigating Noah Dufferin's residence. What's going on here? The boy panicked. Lord Fenric. I'm sure Lord Ivan must have said something offensive, but even so, the boy stammered, shaking so hard that his entire body trembled. Fenric stared silently at him for a moment before biting his lip and sheathing his sword. Duke, why are you doing this to me? Evan took advantage of his distraction and tried to get up, but ended up rolling on the ground again. Fenric had kicked him in the stomach. Oh, Ivan was struggling to breathe, and stared at Fenric, who looked at him as if he were looking at a mere insect. You'd better behave, Chief Wizard. Fenric's voice was as cold as ice when he muttered. Because after today, I have another reason to kill you. With a face devoid of any warmth, Fenric turned and walked away without hesitation. This crazy. He left behind the pale-faced boy and the panting Ivan, who couldn't help but curse under his breath. By the time Fenric returned to the palace, it was already late at night. I'm sorry. The knights and maids, including myself, tried to stop him, but he kept insisting on his authority as chief mage. Hannah was following Fenric closely, still looking pale with fear. He asked us to leave. I don't know what they discussed, but Mrs. What about Mrs.? Even after he left, she wasn't feeling well. She seemed confused and unable to find her bearings, so I gave her some medicine. It has a calming effect. I thought it would be best for her to calm down first. When Hannah finished speaking, Fenric stopped. Standing in front of Presepe's door, he fixed his gaze on it and said softly, Hannah, you can leave. Pardon? I'll call you if I need you. Oh well. Hannah hesitated, then rushed away down the corridor, her face still full of worry. Fenric stood alone in front of the door. Mrs. His low voice carried her name. Knock. The sound of its hinges on the door echoed in the cold corridor. When no response came, Fenric reached for the doorknob. My apologies, he opened the door and entered Presepe's dark room.